Hello and welcome to another edition of Layback with Betfair. We've got a huge weekend of racing coming up with 3 Group 1s across 2 tracks. We've got the William Reid Australian Cup and Tancred Stakes. My name's Nick Foote, your host, and helping me to get through these Group 1s as the expert panel. I'll start with the great man, the little master from Haylock and Reece Goodwin. Welcome back, mate.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, back for another week. We were not too bad last week and can't wait to crack into another big weekend of racing. It's always great, Friday night racing and then you roll it into another big day on Saturday. A few sore heads Saturday morning, but yeah, no, I can't wait for it.
Not you in the training ranks, mate.
No, of course not.
No, half early. And Tommy Haylock, the number 1 form analyst here at Layback, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm good. You a fan of Friday night racing as a trainer?
Oh, probably not as a trainer, no. If I have Saturday morning off, bloody oath, yeah.
Do you have Saturday mornings off?
No.
Are you a fan of Friday night racing as a jockey? Putting your jockey cap on?
Yeah, look, it's a good buzz, no doubt about it. I mean, the whole vibe at Moonee Valley is a great buzz for participants. No matter what, when you're there, it's very, very good. It's just when you get home, even when you get home, you can't wind down straight away. It's like an hour to wind down. I don't know how everyone else is, but I can't just get home, get into bed and fall asleep. There's still a fair bit of adrenaline going, but then, the next morning's not ideal, particularly if you've got races again on the Saturday.
We've got going a bit off topic here, but we've seen a couple of race falls 3 consecutive weeks and jockeys have come out and said, this is probably my early lay-bin actually.
Jockeys or jockey?
There's been a couple, mainly one, but a jockey, but there's been a couple jump on. Say that there's too much racing and look after the welfare of the participants and night racing and whatnot. Just surely it's simple, just don't ride.
Yeah, no, 100%
I know they feel
agree.
the pressure, but if you're feeling pressure, you're feeling tired, don't ride.
I feel like I'm half entitled to have an opinion because I have ridden and had to waste, albeit at the picnics, it's once every weekend and it's not as much prize money and whatnot, but yeah, just don't ride.
Is it a little bit more complex than that, though, from the point of view that you've got, if you don't ride here and you start picking and choosing, the opportunities start drying up as well?
Not if you're a top echelon jockey.
Not if you're Ben Mellum, sure.
No, exactly, Tom. If you're a top echelon jockey, you're never drying up on opportunities. You might miss out on a very good horse because someone else does hop on it for whatever reason and continue to ride it throughout the prep, but you're never going to dry up on opportunities. I would love to have a lifestyle of one of those top echelon jockeys. They can pick when they want to go on.
Yeah, the world
exactly. But what I feel is Damien hasn't complained at all, and he's been dead set globetrotting, and still gets the job done. So yeah, look, I think it's rubbish. From my point of view on the trainer's cap, putting the trainer's cap on about the there's too much racing. You've got to think of all the participants. There is a lot of racing because there is a lot of horses in Victoria. I mean, how often do we see small fields? Like, just about every day of the week, you're looking at pretty big fields. So you have to accommodate for the trainers and the horses there. If you can't ride because you're fatigued, just be smart about it.
It's really interesting. Like, even as a form analyst, it's very hard to stay on top of racing because there's so many races.
Yeah. Absolutely. Geez, we've gone full 60 minutes off the top
That's
here today,
right.
Tommy.
Was that the lay-bin?
Steered the ship. No.
Well, if it isn't...
I'm looking at the run sheet and I'm really nervous about Nick's lay-bin.
If it isn't, we'll get into the lay-bin now. Tommy, have you got anything else to add? You're sort of...
So Doncaster Prelude, obviously on Saturday. Waller's got 8 of the 16 runners. That's in the lay-bin for starters. Impossible race to do. Dominance of trainers, I don't actually like it. We've seen Mar Eustace in a staying race last weekend have 5 or 6. Now Waller's got 8 of 6, 50% of 8 of 16. Just don't like it. Also, I would like to see New South Wales and Sydney Carnival in the autumn is clearly superior to Melbourne's at the moment. They've got top echelon. We saw it with Jibana last week. Pat myself on the back for that. Their promotion of these international horses. We've got a $10 million horse that won a trial on Monday, I think it was. I haven't seen any promotion. I haven't seen any footage of them getting down to Canterbury. We've got about 15 running on Saturday. I know nothing about them. Something Melbourne does well in the spring is actually get to Werribee, promote them, show the trials, show the work.
Talk to the people that have travelled over with them.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from Racing New South Wales, so that's in the lay-bin for me. Something they can do better.
I like that, Tommy.
Yeah,
Reece, you a happy man today? You got something?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
You never lift.
Last week was the traffic and I had a good run this week, so I'm pretty happy. I'm a happy man.
He's potted some of his old jockey mates.
Correct. That's why I thought we were doing the lay-bin early, like before, because I ripped in a little bit there.
Well, I'm taking it up a notch this week, guys. And
How can you from last week?
I'm putting Shepherd avocados in the lay-bin this week. And like racing, avocados, they're
Like
a perennial,
racing.
they're a perennial fruit. They're available all year round. There's a lot of them. However, whilst racing's currently in its Group 1, format at the moment, we've just got Group 1s galore. Avocados are dishing up some serious benchmark 58 Ballarat synthetic type stuff. So what we've got is these absolute boulders called Shepherd avocados. They're $3 a pop. They're flavourless. And as a man in his mid-30s, I'll continue to buy them in hope that I'll get this sort of 5-minute ripen period that they have and nail it. And they've just got to get in the bin. And maybe the boomers were right. Maybe this is why we can't afford to buy houses. But either way, 6 weeks until Haas avocado season, boys. So,
I agree with you, Tom. I think I do need to step up. If this is what we're putting in the lay bin, I do need to find something because there clearly can be anything.
Can be anything
can be in the lay bin.
Not just Racing Victoria.
No. I'm just hoping one day they listen to me.
100%. All right, enough of that. We've got Group 1s, as I said, across 3 tracks this weekend. It all kicks off at the Valley on Friday night, William Reid night. Weather and track conditions, Tommy. The rail remains true from All-Star Mile Day. We had a sort of Armageddon-type storm sweep through central Melbourne today. What can we expect tomorrow night?
I think that will probably help the track, but interesting, rail staying in true 2 weeks in a row, 6-day turnaround. Inside will be chopped up.
Sorry to interrupt. They were getting away from it a bit by the end of the day.
Yeah, but inside barriers still dominated the day. There was only one race. It was race 2 on the car where it was a double-figure barrier.
Right.
Vongole came for barrier 10 and they went really slowly in that race and actually set up the race for the back markers. But at all the genuine tempo races, you had to draw inside. I think all of them were inside 5. 3 from barrier 1. So the inside was advantageous. We saw Cascadian duck up along the inside and the All-Star Mile run really well. I wouldn't be surprised if they get off and they're sweeping a bit more this week just based on that. But yeah, interesting to see how the track
I've just got the report this morning. It's a soft 5 and it says 12 mil last 24 hours, which I'm guessing most was this morning.
Yes, yep.
So have we got, I don't even know, have we got warm weather or that? Do you reckon we might stay in the soft 5 by tomorrow? It'll probably get
I think it'll be in a perfect surface. I think it'll be a 4 by race day and it'll be perfect.
Well, let's kick it off, boys, with a race we're all keen to get involved in. It's race 5. It's the Group 2 Sunline Stakes for the fillies and mares over the mile. Shout the Bar won this race last year, controlled proceedings, buried a box sort of job. Now the speed map, Deny Knowledge, Cyrileo Miss, Barb Raider, they all look to be the key speed influences, Tommy.
They do. The way I play this race completely depends on how the track's playing. If they're swooping, I would really like to be Revolutionary Miss, Cliff's Art even on Francais over from Adelaide. I think those 3. But if it's leaderish, I think Cyrileo Miss has got a mortgage on the race almost. I know meets Barb Raider 1 kilo worse at the weights, but lapped Barb Raider last start. Draws wide, but I don't mind that because she'll have to be positive from the 600 metre start. They'll just work forward, lead, control. Barb Raider will settle off. Deny Knowledge is a fascinating horse, and Reece is tipping this horse by the look of it. Off a interesting race last start.
Yeah, well, things just didn't go right there. The saddle slip.
What do you make of that? How do you assess that as a form reference?
Well, you have to put it in. You have to put it in the lay bin.
Yeah, right.
No, but Josh Richards rode her and he ended up on her neck, and there's nothing you do. Like he's not going to punch her out. He'd probably put himself in danger. So she went at a frantic speed. There wasn't much he could do about it, and then he just had to Chinese her down. So it's a complete pen run, and then she's had a jump out since, very soft jump out. And the main thing I took out of that was Mark Zara jumped her out, and he rides here. So he's obviously happy with what he felt on that morning. And then you go back and you tie form in with this thing gets me every time. Thalassafal. Thalassafal. So that's winning form from the Gosford race where she was and she led on that occasion, and then she was 3.4 lengths behind Pounding, who was ran well enough in an All-Star Mile.
Probably couldn't win the All-Star Mile where the barrier was.
To be fair, probably beat his expectation in the market. He ran a really credible race.
From a wide barrier that you couldn't win from.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the interesting thing for me will be, if it is on speed, you got her and Cyrileo Miss, which Cyrileo Miss went at a nice enough tempo at Flemington, but she also can overdo it. So it is going to be really intriguing between those two, because this thing in Mick Kent's loves to roll along, rock hard fit. And Cyrileo Miss drawn outside her. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens in the battle there. They might even somehow bring themselves undone, and it might turn into a sweepers race.
So just on that and this race, if I see sweepers are making ground in races 1 or 2, I'll be very keen to lay those up front. Cyrileo Miss, Barb Raider, even Deny Knowledge to an extent, and I'll probably lay those 3 and back the likes of Revolutionary Mist. So that's my play in the race. I've got Barbara there as the lay at the moment, but just monitor the conditions.
Yep. I think Matt Hill said it best in the concluding stages of the Major Stakes last start, and that's that Cyrileo Mist, she would run through a brick wall. She broke Barbara's heart. I'm pretty keen to back up and be with her. She ran a huge peak figure as well, and she might regress off that a little, but I think she's still the one to beat for me in the Sunline Stakes. So I'm with Cyrileo Mist. Boys, let's head to race 7 now. It's the Group 1 William Reid Stakes, weight for age over 1,200 metres. Last year this was taken out by September Run, and the year before Masked Crusader, so real sort of flashing light types who both lob here again this year. And yeah, this is another fascinating race to dissect, and the speed map's going to play a huge part because there's speed drawn inside within the Congo, Babylon Berlin, the Kiwi import, and also Jigsaw, who's been building a picket fence at the moment. Do you see this one being run at a pretty good clip, Tommy?
Yeah, I think in the Congo, roll forward from barrier 1, kick up. I know you're probably against in the Congo, but the way the track plays will be huge there. They might be getting off the fence and it might be chopped up, might not be the place to be. So that could be a clear lay for reasons you're about to give as well. Front page will work forward as well. Then you've got a bit of speed out wide. Imperatrice map's a little bit tricky here from that barrier. Won't want to be too far away, and there's a few drawn inside that could keep her out. I found it very tricky. Has this race lost a bit of hype about it?
Well, there's so many of them.
I don't even know
one of them's got to give way.
I feel like we've been saying that for the past 3 years with this race, to be honest.
True.
I might have one in it next year. Might be a 64 rotor or something.
Nice. Jeez, pot in the race. Put the
William
Reid in the lay bin.
There's a stack of them. There's a stack of them. So they've got to give way. They've got to give way somewhere.
Just yet.
just in terms of form, I've got Imperatrice on top. Absolute star, beaten by a very good horse last start, who was there to win. Perfect setup for Artorias. Imperatrice was fantastic. Whether I want to back Imperatrice or not, but the price is the query. It's a very tough race for me, Reece.
I think there's a lot of speed here. So you got in the Congo, front page. Jigsaw's been handlebars down his last two around.
Yep.
And then he gets around the valley, and then you got this
baby.
They've
worked out Jigsaw though, haven't they? Like Cindy Alderson has worked. Like he's going for 5 on the bounce.
He's
been kept
taken
fresh,
a massive
space
improvement
between runs. Like they've just worked out exactly how to get him to run at his best.
Last prep, I think they would have been wrapped to won a stakes race, and now here they are, well in the market in a Group 1, and he's absolutely airborne. Babylon Berlin. Have you seen any replays there? I actually haven't, but I heard them talking on radio, and this thing is apparently very fast too. So I put that in as being another speed horse drawn directly outside in the Congo. So I'm just thinking I'm going to lay in the Congo because I just think there's going to be a lot of... if he'd drawn outside those three and he could come across with a little bit more patience in a way, you could blend across, I thought I'd be probably leave him alone. But because he's drawn one, they're going to have to be very aggressive if they want to find the top. And I reckon there's 3 horses that can really press him. And then if he doesn't find the top, I think those horses will have to do a lot of work, and then they might come back into his face.
If it's leader-ish, they'll put more pressure on.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's just going to be handlebars down for a number of these. So I was happy to lay in the Congo, and there's been a lot of market support for him as soon as the fields come out.
Yep, I'm with Babylon Berlin, who you touched on. So my man Benny Foote brings this.
I was going to say, is that what you're tipping it?
My brother from Tarapa. He brings this mare across, and she has some excellent form over 1,200 metres in New Zealand, around Levante and around Imperatrice. So Imperatrice has had a measure both times, but over 1,200 only just got it, nabbed it right on the post over 1,200. So if you're sort of taking $3.40 around Imperatrice, like you're getting $14 around Babylon Berlin, right? Who's got a really good draw, who I think is just going to plan in the box seat behind that tempo that you speak of.
You got to respect the booking of Bishin too.
Absolutely. So I think Babylon Berlin is like a really good 1x3 type play at that $14. I think you're close to $4 a place there. So I'll be getting involved on my man Benny Foote's mare from New Zealand.
We'll get the inside goss after this.
Travelled. Right. Hopefully she's travelled well.
Race expecting your call, clearly.
Yeah, exactly right. Race number 8, boys. It's the Group 3 Alexandra Stakes. It's for the 3-year-old fillies, and it's over a mile. Tommy, we got Papillon Club here, who's dual nommed for the Vinery stud. This just looks her race to lose here. I don't know if you're sort of reading the same. I'm sitting there going, she's just a bet.
Yeah, I think she is. Pretty keen to be against number 2, Jenny Jerome. Luckless last start, probably rises to right trip now, but had a dream run 2 back, and I thought was only fair in the last 50 metres there. No no evidence to suggest she's in the finish last start. She's priced on the fact that she probably was in the finish last start. She could have easily got a gap and laboured home and run a
Done
good
the same she did previously, the last 50, not really attacked along.
Correct. So I'm happy to be against Jenny Jerome. Tass looks the leader. Papillon Club rolls across, settles outside Tass. Potentially, I think, just sets up perfectly. I agree with you. One of my better bets on the program. I haven't actually had a bet at all yet. It's one of those weekends that I'm going to bet late, but Papillon Club would be the one that I probably focusing in on.
Revolutionary Miss runs well earlier in the night as well.
Yep.
That form sort of stacks up, doesn't it, through the CUNY?
Just gets a perfect run either way you look at it. If the fence is off, she'll settle outside lead, up on speed. Jenny Jerome will be back and need luck from that, I think it's barrier 4. I just think she ticks plenty of boxes.
Yep. Are you going to get involved in this one, Norma?
Balmia. She's a very good each-way special of mine. Jamie Edwards trains. Mick D goes on board, which I really like. Probably not the track for her, but as you touched on, Tom, it's going to be interesting to see how the track plays throughout the night. If for somehow they can run on, she's going to go, I think, quite close. She's got a stack of ability, this filly. She was terribly unlucky behind Benedetta, who they're giving, somewhat of a chance in a Group 1. She got in her pocket, she got chopped out of her run, she was great late, and then she just had the race against her again, the race shape against her at Sandown last start. She's a filly that she's well and truly up to these, and if she can get the right run, her little issue is she's always slow away. If they can sort that out, it's going to save her getting back where she does.
Probably helps her because she can round them up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, she's not going to be cluttered up in amongst them. If she's slow away, she's just going to be somewhere at the back. She'll hopefully get on the back of the right horses, get the right drag. So it is going to come down to how the track's playing. If it's dead set leader bias, then obviously you leave her alone. But if there's a chance they can run on, then I think she's a very, very good each way bet.
Yep, double figure odds there for you. And I'm with Papillon Club, as I sort of alluded to, at the top for all the reasons that you mentioned as well, Tommy. So that'll be, I think, one of the better, or probably the best bet on the card there at the Valley, I'd say. Let's head to Rosehill Gardens now on Saturday. We've got 2 Group 1s there. Weather and track conditions, rail is plus 5 metres from the 1400 to the winning post, then plus 4 the remainder. Bit of rain around, Tommy. Do you suggest that it might play in the soft range on Saturday?
Typical Sydney, the forecast is between 1 and 45 mil, or roughly. A slight exaggeration, but it could be hardly any rain, it could be a lot. So we just don't know, filming this on a Thursday morning, what the track's going to come up. Do your form for a 5 and just assess from there. If 3 mils falls, it could be a good 4, or it could be a heavy 8. You just don't know at this stage. Do the form on a 5. Very, very tough race and race meeting. I found it impossible almost.
There's a lot of internationals that we'll touch on, a lot of horses first up as well.
And it's a staying day, and I don't like staying races that much, so very hard.
All right, well, let's kick off in race number 6, which is the Group 2 Emancipation Stakes. It's for the fillies and mares over 1,500. And yeah, as Tommy, as you sort of spoke at the top of the show, you've been nailing this European form on layback. You've had Protagonist 2 weeks ago in the Sky High. You're all over Dubai Honour in the Ranvet. Is it a simple case of rinse and repeat here for Joseph O'Brien with his Irish Galloper statement, or does it, I guess, throw up something different, that these aren't sort of season stayers coming over? They're coming over and racing over these sort of mile 1,500 metre races, and that probably doesn't profile as well as those stayers, does it?
No, you're spot on. Like 1,500 metres and these mile races with these international step out, they're not staying races, or they're not sprints. I mean, sprints, Australian horses are world class. We've seen that time and time again. We're better sprinters, we're breed for speed, whereas the stayers, the UK European stayers, are much better than ours. So I don't know what to do with Statement. Fascinating import, local debut. She's in astute hands, raced well in Europe. Good barrier, has to be respected. And then you got Going Global, another international of interest. Soul Trial was pleasing, despite finishing 7th. Thought Going Global worked home okay in that barrier trial. So I really don't know what to do with the internationals. Very, very hard race. I think Reece is tipping Roots. I can make a case for Roots. Flat second up off Waller's profile. Playing last up, but I think she's entitled to improve Roots. I can make a case for Dynasties at a huge price down the bottom here as well. Playing last time, trialled really well prior. Cricket score odds, so low draw. We've got Mirror Vision right in the mix. Probably the horse I want to take through the Cornwall Classic. Was unlucky there. Rolls forward. Not much speed in this race. Typical mares, fillies and mares race. She's one that with bit of tactical speed. I know Mustang Valley was a bit unlucky along the inside there as well. So impossible race for me.
Cricket score odds, are you averaging more than 34 with the bat, or is that just Haylock's career there?
That's just Haylock's career.
Yeah, nice.
I heard there was. I was going to say that I heard there was a 1 in front of that 34. Actually,
That was last season.
Oh, sorry, right. It's 130 now. It's only just gone down. Yeah, I'm going to go with Roots. She, I think she just peaked on her run, in my opinion. We were all on her there. I think there was 2 or 3 of us that made her our best.
Gee, she's becoming costly.
Yeah, she is. No doubt about that. She was 13 to 1600. So I am forgiving a little bit. And at the end of the day, she wasn't beaten far. It's just if you were on her, you were terribly disappointed because she sort of presented to be the winner and wasn't putting them away. But I think now with the first 1600 metre run under her belt for the prep, I think I like Abdullah going on too. She flew for him first up. And obviously I'm no knock on J-Mac, but I just think Abdullah gets along with it really well. And if the track is in the soft range, she's got a great record on the soft track. So we were all on her at the short quote last time. I'm happy to back her in again and try and get...
You're going to jump off if she loses here?
Well, I'll just wait and see. There's a big difference between running last and losing and running second and losing.
Okay.
But
don't
yeah,
get paid out, do you?
no. What was that, green card? You could get paid out.
Yeah,
green
true.
book, sorry. Green book.
Yeah,
I could still win somehow.
You can.
At least someone's learning from her education.
Well, that's what I'm here for. I got no input when you first talk about it.
It was a green card, but anyway.
That's it. I'm still learning. This going global, though, just quickly, 10 wins from 7, that's a good record.
Yeah, trial was nice
this
too.
This must be a nice horse to watch going forward.
I've got in the mix as well, but I just don't know what to do with these international
They're hard.
1500 metres.
You sort of got to watch them first runs, don't you?
It's
easy to
how do you
trial
bet
well.
into this race? I don't want to sit here and back Roots and have a statement or going global, come out and demolish them.
Roots isn't going to go overseas and win many races, is she?
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
Yeah, I think you've got to approach the entire card with a bit of caution. So staking's incredibly important, but I think you can still find value. I think Mirror Vision, she can run a big race third up here at double figure odds for the Snowdens. Like, she struck interference last start in the Coolmore Classic at the 400 and it just completely flattened her as she was really starting to get into her work. Follows a similar profile to last prep where she was able to peak third up in the Group 1 Empire Rose with some sting out of the ground. I think she can run a big race, Mirror Vision, and I'm going to have a bet at $11.
Just 2 we haven't mentioned. Larkspur Run ties in through the guy Walter. She ran second there, and then you've got a Tissue who's finished her campaign last prep. Really good form too. It's
not
just
too many here that would surprise.
Such a deep race.
Yep, no, well summed up, Tommy. Race number 7 is the Group 1 Vinery Stud Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies over 2,000. Fangirl won this race last year, Hungry Heart in 21, and she out the bar back in 2020. How are you blokes assessing this race? Is it a race that you're keen to bet into?
No, not for me, no. I was happy to watch these go around. As we touched on before the show, Nick Fireburn, they're all talking about her, but up to 2,000, you just have to watch that. Obviously, she's going to appreciate sting out of the ground, but pretty tough race. Pavitra. Jeez, that got me. I was sort of on her first up. I thought she trialled really good and she was a little bit disappointing, and then she made me look silly and she came out and dominated second up.
Oh, you missed the tip from me second up then, did you?
Oh, I must have been listening. Sorry about that. But yeah, look, she's the obvious. But yeah, I was just happy to watch and see how it unfolds here. Tommy?
Pavitra was my best of the day at Kembla last start.
Best, was it?
Yeah,
I still didn't listen.
No, that's all right. I don't think I tipped it on the show. You must have missed the text message.
Didn't get the number, yeah. I wasn't in that group.
You probably wouldn't want it to get too soft, Pavitra.
No, you're probably right there. Whereas the New Zealander probably won't mind it. I think only 2 horses can win, and that is Prowess and Pavitra. I think one of those 2 win, and I'll be betting accordingly. I've just got Pavitra on top because I love her. She owes me nothing. She's a real staying horse. She ran well in Oaks last campaign. She trialled well prior to this campaign, as I said. I thought she was good first up. Unsuitable race, actually ran home quite well. And then second up, she put them to the sword. Yep. Interesting, the market there, because the market crunched Cool Die late in piece and actually backed her in a favourite. And I luckily didn't put me off Pavitra. I'd already had set and I had a bit more on Pavitra, and she just annihilated him there. 2,000 metres suits. I just lent the way of her at the better value, but if I'll be saving, I don't want to lose if number 1 Prowess wins. Ties in through Le Creek, actually beat Le Creek, and Le Creek's run well in Empire Rose.
That's right.
So it started hard in the market
Le
too.
Creek was
favourite?
$1.85.
Yeah, there you go.
And ran 4th in the Empire Rose, and we've seen Prowess beat that horse, so ties in easily to the Australian form. Got to be respected. 1 and 3 for me.
Yep, I'm with you. The Prowess is the horse I want to be with, the winner of the Group 1 bone crusher in New Zealand last start and beat some well-accomplished older horses too. So she did get a bit wayward in the final 100. If you watched it, she got me out of a bit of trouble this day actually. There was a protest, but it was dismissed. And as you mentioned, she did that form that ties in with Le Creek through the Group 1 Empire Rose, obviously running as favourite there last year during the spring, is one I want to be with. I'm actually going to lay Fireburn in this race as well, so a little bit of a two.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, like $7.
Is that a stab? Like that was
what do we got?
Easy lay.
$7 to $7.50. Like I think Fireburn should be double that in a field like this. So, she overcome the curse of the Golden Slipper and went on to win the Size Produce, but has been a little bit in the wilderness since, close to 12 months without a W. I don't think she's bred to get the 2,000 either. So I think it's a genuine throw at the stumps by the camp here, and she's probably just getting favoured a little bit.
Off what she had done previously.
Yeah, and the fact that there might be some give in the ground.
Yeah.
So I don't think she'll get the trip, and I'm happy to lay her at the price. Race number 8 is the Group 1 Tancred Stakes. Weight for age, 2,400 metres. Duace won this race last year, Sir Dragon 8 the year before, and very own, very elegant. We love her in 2020. Any race with Knight's Order in it, guys, usually sets up a solid enough tempo. Sir Lucan and King Frank will probably also be the speed influences there, Tommy.
Yeah, Vow Declare might work forward from that wide gate as well, but Knight's Order lead from King Frank, we would have thought, and Sir Lucan will be right up there. Group 1 race, it's not an exciting Group 1 race in my opinion. I don't like these distance races that much. Gold Trip was a little plain last start. You laid him. Well done. Wasn't the right race for him. Slow tempo, firm track.
Was it completely different to the Sandown run, wasn't it? The race
correct, 100%. Couldn't have done much more, really. But the Montefilia was probably better late anyway and comes through the same race. It's a good form line. On the quick backups, interesting. Big watch, Cleveland. I've probably got Cleveland on top if I'm tipping in this race. It's very hard. We've seen these internationals come over at these distances and win. This horse was well fancied in a Melbourne Cup once upon a time. And I'm happy to have Cleveland on top if tipping and betting, but I'll be watching the market closely on Betfair.
How's his last start? So it's 179 days between runs. His last start was over 3,332 metres and carried 63 kilos in a field of 30 runners.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, how is that?
Different gravy.
How is it just to
different to what we
stack up
see,
to Weight for Age race over 2,400 in Sydney? Like, I just think you're mad if you bet into this, Tommy. I'm going full Steve Smith shouldering arms on this one as well, mate. If I was to have a bet, like Knight's Order would be the one because he's been pretty good on all surfaces. TC is going to give him every possible chance from the front, but I'm going to stay out.
Yeah, look, I'll stay out, but I'm going to kick up for Gold Trip because I think this is a better shape for him because you've got Knight's Order who's going to roll along. And he's going to get sting out of the ground. Will hopefully get some sting out of the ground, which is why they've taken him to Sydney. It was a good 4 last week. I love the turnaround, the quick turnaround. He's going to get a much better race shape. If Cleveland doesn't turn up, then I think he would probably be the bet. But look, I've been laying him real late, so I won't start back.
Montefilia's got to be in the mix if you like.
She was good, and she loves her sting out of the ground too.
Yeah.
So is that a team shoulders arms, or are you going to perhaps have a bit of a watch on Cleveland?
I'll be watching the market closely.
Betfair
Live and betfair.com.au.
If there's some money for him close to the race.
Yeah, I could spec. Yeah. I said, even last week, I said I'd let the Golden Slipper go around without me and ended up
sucked in.
Just getting sucked into a few.
A couple of beers down.
Nah, gamble responsibly, obviously. I was disappointed. I should have put myself in the lay bin after losing in the Slipper, but anyway.
Yes.
I'll probably have a bet in it, but I don't want to.
Some ferocious PTSD.
But I don't want it. I love that.
Some real PTSD for us cylinder backers in the
Slipper. Sorry to bring that up.
We didn't even do that on purpose.
Dramas. Race number 9. It's the Group 3 Doncaster Prelude, over 1,500 metres. Win this race and you're exempt from the ballot and penalty in the Doncaster Mile. It's all very nice, but I don't think anyone's actually ever won both. So historically, it's not a great form reference moving in to this race. The top 3 in the market.
Because the good horses should already be in the race. We saw with the Magic Knight and the Pango with Shinzo. You made the stat last week that Shinzo, not many horses come from those 3 races because they're already in the race, General.
Yeah, I was all over the Todman and Silver Slipper form, wasn't I? Fool me. Anyway, top three in the market here. Cross Talk, who's the favourite and will be your clear leader. Look to go barrier to box like he did last start. in the Newcastle Stakes. You got Waterford here, who's building something to this prep. Tommy peaked on his run last start in the Ajax, and then Moonee. I'm not sure if Nick Ryan, not sure if he's in the float or not. They're just weighing up a few things.
Oh, really?
The camp.
Do you know what they're weighing up?
No.
Is Worsfold going?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because that's the one I'd like to be with.
I just heard on radio this morning Nick Ryan's going to speak with Hutchie about whether they take him or not. So they're your top 3 in the market.
Thought he might have let the horse do all the talking.
Yeah, that's a race.
Make sure the horse let him know.
I'm staying out of it.
I was going to say that.
I'm staying out of it, boys. So over to you guys.
Like I said, Labian, Waller with 8 of the 16 in the field proper, 9 of the including emergencies. Crosstalk's the one I wanted to be with, up and out of trouble, big field. He's a horse that could actually be competitive in a Doncaster. It was beaten by Zarek first up, and you know that seems like average form when Zarek hadn't won for a couple of years, but Zarek's come out and since run really well. So we saw Crosstalk come out, went to Newcastle, won a Group 3. He raced pretty well there, set a fast tempo. Set to peak here, so I don't want to lose if Crosstalk wins. I think Skyman's the pick of the Wallers. Nice trial leading in. Run well fresh in the past, gets map favours, and probably gets the go-to jockey for Waller in Nash Ruileron, so without J-Mac riding. So he'd be the pick for me.
Look, I'm a values man. Worsfold, if he goes from Nick Ryan's, I think he's not going there to make up the numbers. I think he's a good soft tracker. He's got a good draw. 53. He was very good behind Scalapini last start, where he got back, and obviously Scalapini led, dominated. He was very good through the line. He's had a little quiet jump out between runs to set him up for this, and at that price, if he goes up there, I'll definitely be having probably a 1x3, a Nick Foot special, a 1x3.
I like that. I'm always scared with trainers that have two in one race like this, and I'm not talking like a Chris Waller. I'm talking a more moderately sized stable.
Yeah, that might be what it is. They might be tossing up which one actually goes. They probably know. They might not, but they might be thinking, let's take one and working out which one's going to be best suited.
Excellent. Hey boys, it's time now for our back to school segment, and as you can see, Reece is already so well educated here. We gave him his green card for his green book earlier, but today's session, it's a nice little flow in from our green book into hedging. Tommy, you want to talk about the benefits of hedging on Betfair and how you can be a profitable punter in that space?
It's just about being smart, I think. If you can lock yourself into profit.
I'm going then.
What's that?
I'm going then.
If you can lock yourself into profit,
yep.
You're probably silly to not do so. So if you back a horse, and we saw it last week, and we talked about Cylinder, if you backed it at 51s...
60s.
60s, sorry, yeah, he made a point of that, didn't he? Didn't make any difference.
He didn't want to bring it up this week.
No, I think I've brought it up twice this week.
Didn't make any difference, but hedging. So if you back it at 61s, you can either hedge back other things or lay it, which is the beauty of Betfair. So you've got lay betting at Betfair. You can hedge and lay off a little bit. You don't have to hedge at all. You can, you just trade basically is the beauty of Betfair. It is similar to our conversation last week about hedging, but also if you've got a last leg of a multi with an AFL team, why not get on Betfair and back the other team so you can lock yourself in a little bit of profit
win
either way, or
no matter what. Yeah.
Make it a free bet.
Literally,
like
it's just being smart, isn't it?
It's just being a bit smart, a bit disciplined, and because it's so hard to win in this game. And
yeah, correct.
If you can win, if you get to certain things, you don't have to hedge at all, and you still want to cheer for the team you put in your multi or whatever at the start, but you may as well get your bet back or a little save or something like that. So jump on a Betfair, good value, and hedge and back the other team in the last leg of a multi or something.
How does that name come about? Hedging.
Don't know, mate.
Oh, I'm getting rattled by green card and hedging.
I don't know. I'll do some.
No wonder I can't keep up.
We certainly cover the big issues here in our back to school segment, boys.
Do you do much hedging?
Not a lot, to be honest. I sort of like to, I guess, lay off or hedge, particularly in quaddies and things like that.
I do a bit of that.
Yeah, I think that's where you can. You'd be mad not to if there's a nice pool and you're 3 legs in, and I purposely go skinny in the last leg for that reason to hedge. So that's probably the only time I really do it, to be honest. Because when I have a bet, I want to have a bet for a reason.
You see these on social media all the time. These guys on Twitter or whatnot that have a last leg of a multi to win 100,000 and seem to lose more often than not.
Just right at home.
It's pure madness.
Just hedge. Just get your stake back. Do something.
Yep,
that's it.
I agree. That's a good point. Boys, let's head to Flemington now. It's Australian Cup Day there. We're going to look at 3 races. We'll kick off with race, or actually before we kick off with race number 4, we'll talk about the weather and track conditions. Similar to the Valley. I haven't actually got the rail up there, Tommy.
Well, it dries even better, Flemington. So
rails out of the 8s. Rails out at 8 metres. Should be firming track. No rain around Saturday. I don't think so. Should be pretty good. Dry up well. Weather's 21, partly cloudy. Saturday rail out 8. Should firm. No rain around Friday either. So what we saw today will be pretty dry and pretty good surface, I think.
Yep. Well, let's get into race number 4, which is the listed Bob Hoysted handicap, straight up the Ididdle over 1,000 metres. Malkovich won the race last year, and 2020 and 2021, the WA Grey Fabergino went back to back. Mate, we got Kalos and on the lead here, who come through the same 1,000 metre race that Kalos won first up as a gelding. On the lead, gets a little weight swing. Race favourite, the Bopper, is 4 from 6 over the 1,000. This horse is an absolute nomad, Tommy. Scone, Gold Coast, Sunny Coast, Rosehill, Eagle Farm, Randwick, now Flemington. His last few starts. Seriously,
he probably is.
Yeah.
He's probably backing up.
Seriously,
Aubrey.
Get a home.
Aubrey's on the way.
Yeah, he's probably running Albury Friday in the flat knacker and
track go up over 900 at Albury.
Tighten him up nicely.
Yeah, and then you got Tajumbuk, who's dropping back for a first go at 1,000. So a lot of question marks here, Tommy. I'm once again shouldering arms. Are you having a bet?
Yeah, he doesn't have a home, the Bopper, does he? I don't even know where he's based.
I'll take him.
I think he's a Newcastle operator with Chris Lees, but
he's races everywhere, as you said. Has to bring the right form into this behind your horse, Passive Aggressive.
Yeah,
Bopper.
correct.
Performance rated really well, moderate tempo. Ran the second fastest 8.642 of the meeting there, the Bopper. That's a great run, great return. I think he's better than this lot. He's obviously travelled a lot, but he still must be doing things well. And he's run well at the Flemington Straight before. He ran 4th in the English Dash here as well. So he's had that race.
He's had one go
straight track experience. He ran well there.
I was on him that day in the English Dash, and he presented grandstand side, and I was lining up, and then just sort of flattened out and peaked a bit in his run.
So is that a worry?
No.
Or you just think he's grown up a little bit since then?
He's grown up, but 1,000 metres, he's surely not peaking here after running behind Passive Aggressive and running the fastest 8.64 and 2 of the meeting. Or second fastest 8.64 and 2 of the meeting last start.
He'll hit the goat too.
That's it.
He gets the goat, the great man, D. Oliver.
Yeah. I think he's the horse to beat. On the lead, as you said, meets Kalos 2 kilos better for that 0.4 length defeat last start. I'm not sure that's the right form. A Very Fine Red's a horse of interest for me. Nice trial behind Hell I Am, good horse, but I'm keen to be with the Bopper. Yeah.
Tommy with the Bopper.
Just on, I'm not getting involved betting-wise. It's a very tough race for me to sort of dissect. There's a lot of ticks and crosses on these. The Jumbuk's a great straight horse down in the weights. Curran crying out to win another race. It's been a long time. McD gets in the saddle. I like that. Race well up the straight before. A Very Fine Red. Mark Newman, he brings the right horses to Melbourne.
He's a very good trainer.
He knows what he's doing.
He's a good trainer.
Trialled up. I think he sort of had this race in mind. So maybe at the price, you would be having something 1 by 3 him. On the lead, of course, you tie with Kalos, and then the Bopper's probably got the best form. But yeah, I don't really want to get involved. I think there's so many chances in this, and the straight can play so funny, slowly run races. It's going to be whatever has the best last 400.
Well, that's the thing we say. This best turn of foot wins these straight races. Bopper's got the best turn of foot. Generally. But you just don't. Sometimes all of a sudden they do sort of run along, and there's a 90 to 1 pop that goes pretty quick. Like Midnight Charm. He's got probably not much chance on his form against a Bopper, but a pretty quick horse. Bill the Box is a pretty quick horse, won up the straight. So I just don't really want to invest in a race that has a lot of different things that could happen.
Can I ask you a question from just a training perspective here? You've got Tajumbuk, who's 24 career starts, has been, as you alluded to, has been a terrific straight track horse. Yep. 1,200 back to 1,000 for the first time.
Yeah, so this is... he was in, must have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was scratched. From what I'd heard, he'd had a temperature. So obviously it was a little hiccup, but he has been back to the jump out. So they've probably tried to keep him on the fresh side, and they know he goes so well up the straight. So they're probably just when you get to, so he's been winning a lot. He's probably been a hard horse to place, and they're trying to just find something that's worked with him, which is up the straight. And yeah, look, he's still well on the market, so they've probably still found a winnable race. But yeah, I can see why you would think he was 1,200 back to 1,000, but he certainly was in at Flemington 3 weeks ago. And he was scratched, and there was a reason for that.
He's not well off at the weights with the 81 handicap, Brady, carrying the same weight as the likes
he would be finding himself very hard to place now that he's won a few or 2 in a row. You know, it's only going to get harder for him.
Yep. We've spent an enormous amount of time on that for Tom, who's just going straight down with the bopper there, just getting behind the race favourite. Race number 7 is the feature on the card. It's the Group 1 Australian Cup, weight for age, 2,000 metres. Duace won this race last year, Homesman the year before, and 50 stars back in 2020. There is a full field of 16 here, plus the emergencies for the addition. And I found this a tough race to map, Tommy, outside of the Perth Galloper Maraschino. There doesn't look to be a heap that are just going to be pressing for the lead. I'm not right, you are showing that he's pretty versatile. I don't know if you have a different view.
I think Smoking Romans will be handy from a good low draw, and American punch up from inside barrier. Then you've got Nonconformist Mo'unga drawn wide. They'll put a bit of pressure on Mo'unga's settled forward in a couple of races this campaign, so he won't be far away either. That's the speed in the race, but there's a couple that do map back and wide and a little bit tricky here,
Sure. Boys, how are you going to look to play this race? It's one that I want to get in from a back and lay perspective. I might let you take it first, Tommy, if you're going to have a bet.
I'm not very confident at all here. I've got Cascadian on top. I just think he's the best horse in the race. Ran the fifth in this race last year. Won the Hill Stakes on a heavy track over 2,000 metres. When we last saw him at this trip. Don't mind the barrier, he will be back and wide. Map's a little bit tricky, but I think he'll be charging late down the outside, middle of the track. Loved his All-Star Mile run. Pounding ties them all in. Excuses. Obviously, Pounding and Nonconformist met, so that's where Pounding ties that form in a little bit. Right you are, so looking to make it 6 on the trot. Going to be hard to beat naturally, but yeah, I'm with Cascadian. Very little confidence.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go value as something different, but 2 of them. Emissary, I really like that Blake Shinn's sticking with this horse. I think he thinks the horse is going quite well. His first up run was good, and his second up run was even better. I think he's peaking for something like this. He's going to be in a similar boat. He's going to be back and wide, but I think basically what I am taking for this is Blake probably could have ridden a number of horses in this, and he's stuck with this horse. And if you go off some of his runs last prep, he ties in very well. So at the price of double figures with him, I'm going to stick solid there. And he's a shocker. I'm not convinced about him on firm ground, but I think, again, I'm backing in that Ollie sticks with him. He was no chance from where he was behind Nonconformist first up, but he loves the track and trip here at Flemington. And we've got to remember he ran third to Zaki and Mo'unga. Yes, he didn't beat Mo'unga, but he wasn't far away from him in a Group 1. And I think from a soft draw, the other day he drew 14 and they just had to be negative straight away, where he's going to be, was he drawn 3? He should be able to lob a lot closer. And I'm just going to be on both of those, probably 1 by 3, I think.
Can we get Jubayana here and start him at $7, please?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
No
I can't believe he hit $7, Jubayana.
Every time we hear his name, drink.
Stop being greedy, Tom. You've found Jubayana. Stop being greedy.
Playing Mo'unga. That's great.
Hey, I'm backing Nonconformist. Now, Nonconformist just has to be a bet for me. The stable, you've spoken of the tricky draw, I get that. But the stable has opted to bypass the All-Star Mile because they want a Group 1 status. So his return in the Blamey Stakes was outstanding. Will only improve off that because he's with one of the best second-up stables in the business. So last 12 months, Graham Begg is striking at over 25% at an average SP of 420 and a 44% profit on turnover for all runners. So he'll be a horse blending into the run around the bend, and I think he could be back to his best Nonconformist. So sort of $8 quote, I'm happy to get involved.
I was shocked how well he won last start.
Yeah, that was blow me away.
Well, the market was too.
Yeah.
20 odd bucks. Virtuous Circle is another that I want to spec in this race. So
he was very good in the Guineas, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I was taken by his run in the Group 2 Vs last spring. And he's the X factor of the field. The 3-year-old has returned well this prep. Can improve the most, I think, out of all this field, stepping to 2,000, no doubt
and
there.
And same sort of thing with He's a Shocker. He drew wide last start. He's now drawn soft. Hopefully they can be a bit closer. He's going to need luck at the right time.
Yep.
But
that's all factored into the price again,
correct.
isn't it?
But I'm glad you brought him up because I did have a look at him and I was wrapped with his last run, how he got caught up and he still excelled late. So I think that's why I've gone with 2 of them at a double figure price, because it wouldn't surprise me if a couple of these ones at the top of the market sort of, like Cascadian, they went to an All-Star Mile last week. Now they're back up. It's a whole different track,
I
I don't know. I know Tom's with him, and I obviously trust that, but I don't trust him, to be fair. I think his last 2 wins were on soft ground and heavy ground. So
yeah, I'm not overly confident.
You pointed out, you weren't overly confident. So I was happy to like you, Nick, to try and get some value out of this race.
It's a good segue as well into my lay, because I'm going to lay Cascadian in this race just at the price. Look, he was absolutely outstanding in the All-Star Mole last week, no doubt about it. He's rising 9, 46 career starts, and has won once at the 2000. He's never won at Flemington from 8 goes. I feel like he's a really good Group 1 horse, so they just keep sending around, and we'll bank a nice check. But at $3.50 in this race, so I'm just going to take a set against him at the price. And I don't really love a horse without a plan. I think they just keep rolling him because he keeps coming through his runs well.
Well, he wouldn't have got picked into the All-Star Mile.
He was a wild card.
Okay, right. He was. Well, I wasn't sure if he was one of the...
came in.
There was that many that come out.
Yeah.
As I said, I was nearly going to get a run with one, I reckon.
Yeah. Settle down.
Like the William Reid next year. Win Tilly.
Are we looking at any other races? I think they're the other 2 races we're going to look at, boys.
Can I just touch on race 5?
You certainly can.
Sunlight Stakes, we probably should have previewed it just really quickly. Fascinating race, because we talked about Benedetta a bit in this show and off air as well. Now, if she's here, what do you make of the race? You love Benedetta as a horse?
I wouldn't say love.
I would. I heard you talk off
I didn't say love. I just didn't say love. I just thought they would...
Race 6 too.
I just thought that... I was going to... Yeah, he rattled me there. I'm going to race 5 and he started talking about Benedetta. No, look, I think... Well, this is... I think they're going the wrong way if they go the William Reid, because it's obviously a strong race, different track, and she's drawn off the track. If she's drawn soft, she might get the right run, and I'd understand they're going for some really good black type to pump up the pedigree while she's running well. But now she's drawn gate 1 down the straight at Flemington, so it's another difference from her last win. She was able to draw her off, and she got probably to the right part of the track. So, look, I'm not going to... I like the filly, but I don't know if I even like both the setups this weekend.
Yeah. I don't think she wins either.
Well, there you go. I'm certainly not going to be backing her.
What's that based off? Is that how the race rated last start that she came through?
Yeah, and also Paris Dior was playing in behind. Cythera was playing in behind. I know she walloped them, but Wee Nessie ties in favourably, and that's the recommendation form. So, and then you've got What You Need, who couldn't have been more impressive. Savage the line off a slow tempo down the Flemington straight last time. Like, short price, going to be hard to beat. Benedetta can win this. But I just think she's probably the favourite in this race that I'd be more inclined to be against.
I was going to say I'm probably against her against this setup. But do you think she's still on very much an upward spiral?
100%.
Like, yes, the race probably didn't.
Need.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm with you. The setup at both places, I would probably be against her.
Yeah, I'm a big rapid recommendation. I think should be shorter in betting, and one I can make a case for at a huge price, 150s or something. You'll get Betfair.
Dear me.
Lady DD. Down the bottom, has to get a run. Ran slowly last start, but go through her form lines. Her debut, 5 winners came from that race. Her second start, 5 winners came from that race. Third start, 3 winners have come the next 2. And then last start, the Future Stars final, we saw Bel Air come out and win very impressively.
And then Halleck's won yesterday
and
too.
Halleck's won. So
and Marble Arch goes around... they picked out something pretty
Marble Arch is a very nice horse.
Correct.
I think the forms through her is sensational throughout her whole career. I think if she gets a run, she can run well. So at 150, just include her in the multiples.
That's huge.
Just quickly,
and she's so tractable. She'll race up on speed and put us up.
Rich Fortune, massive overs too. I mean,
might be
done nothing wrong. All prep.
Done nothing wrong.
Steps up the right part of the track, maybe.
Meets those 2 nice horses though here. So yeah, you can make a case for a few. I just think Benedetta is probably too short.
That's what I thought at the price.
Is probably too short as well.
Yeah.
I can make a case for a few others.
Yeah. I'm a big Benedetta fan, and I think maybe this whole Group 1 Wait for Age where they're looking is just a little bit too soon. I think she's going to furnish into a really
I kind of
nice
hope they run at
spring.
Moonee Valley so I can pen her there and back something else in this race.
It's time now for our best backs and our best lays for the weekend, boys. Some good discussion throughout today's show. Tommy, we'll start with you. You always like to give a few best backs and best lays. Where are we going this week?
It's the hardest day I can remember. Legit, it's impossible. There's so many angles. Impossible. Substantial's a fascinating import, one of many, over 1,400 metres. Just like the trial of Substantial, race 10 at Rosehill, number 11. Great career record, maps well, trial behind in the Congo was fantastic. Each way, substantial, race 10, number 11, and Papillon Club, if they're maps well, ticks a lot of boxes, so they're my best 2 bets.
So I'm organised this week.
I love it.
My best bet is Balmea in the last at Moonee Valley. Just going to have to see how the track's playing. If they're making any type of ground, I think she's a dead set each way special. And then my lay is going to be in the Congo, the race before in the William Reid tomorrow night. I think there's just a whole lot of pressure there, and gate 1 I think is going to be a cross against him.
Well done last week, because none of our lays are still running. We're doing all right. In
Happy
the boat.
days.
Warming up into
In the
this lay
boat,
stuff.
you guys were very lucky.
Nah, never in doubt, Reece.
Mr. Brightside?
Never in doubt,
Any
mate.
mention?
Right side.
Yeah.
Well done.
Fizz, I thought he was going to burn me. Then I was like, got
Nervous.
nervous.
That would have made next week, late.
My best bet this weekend, boys, comes Morphettville race 4, number 3, Pelagio, at about $9 you'll get for this runner. Last start winner at Kyneton, over 1100 in benchmark 58 company against the older horses. Worked early to sit outside the leader, then when was asked was able to kick away, carrying 62 kilos. Finds a nice Saturday race here. Lockie overall claim drops at 6.5 kilos on last start. Drawn barrier 1 will find the top and will be hard to run down at a big price. My best lays, as mentioned earlier in the show, Rosehill race 7, number 1, Fireburn. I think she'll struggle to get the 2000. And Flemington race 7, number 1, Cascadian. Just think the big fella's a little bit too short there in the Group 1.
I haven't mentioned my lays. Laying Beltoro in the Albury, before he wrapped up the show, I thought I'd get it.
It's a good call.
We were trying to cut him short because last week was so long and he hadn't even got to fit in his lay.
My lays are still running. Yeah. Don't worry about that. That's how well I'm going. Nah.
Yeah.
2 by
Albury Gold Cup Friday, race 7, number 4, Beltoro. Never been a 2000, probably needs a firm track. Happy to be against him. Shocked he's that short, Beltoro. And Jenny Jerome, as I said, maps awkwardly. Unlucky last start, but that's definitely factored in the price.
Yep, nice one, boys. Well, it's been fun again. It always is. I love my time on layback with Betfair with you guys. All the best on the weekend. It's a bit of a marathon starting Friday night there for some quality black type racing. And as always, gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858, and we'll be back next week on Layback with Betfair.
Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.